today I want to help you create your amazing quick pitch. Now, the thing is about quick pitches is that we get, and I could talk about quick pitch, I'm talking about your elevator pitch, I'm trying to think what else it's called, the one-liner that kind of nails what it is that you do and who it is that you help, right? That's what we want to be able to give. So I want to help you today formulate that and also let you know some of the reasons where you might be going wrong at the moment with your quick pitch, and you know why that's letting you down in your networking. So just some of the pitfalls first of all behind creating quick pitches is that we try to perhaps sometimes be a bit grandiose to try and impress people, because I think we're told we only have like 2 seconds to impress people, to really help them understand what we do, and so we put ourselves under a lot of pressure to make sure it's perfect. And the thing is, when we try and make sure it's perfect, we can tweak it to the point of no return. So we start tweaking, it becomes broad, it becomes vague, it becomes grandiose. No one truly understands what you're talking about. And that's the problem with a lot of quick pitches, is that they may sound great, it may sound pretty, it may sound like the best slogan since sliced bread, but actually nobody understands what it is you do. So the first big tip I can give you on creating an excellent quick pitch is actually making sure that it is understandable. Understandable is probably the top priority that you should be giving, because, and I say this all the time, and I've said this around what you call yourself and your title, don't get caught up in that stuff, and equally don't get too caught up in how you introduce yourself. As long as you follow what I'm about to show you, that's really the best that you can be doing at this stage. No one's going to buy from you from your quick pitch. What will happen is that they will pay attention. What you need them to do at this point of your quick pitch is for them to go, is this somebody I need to be listening to, or do I know someone that would be great to listen to this person, to check them out? This is the introduction to, not the beginning, middle and end book closed, right? This is just to help people understand what you're about so that they can decide whether you are someone to continue a relationship with, okay? People don't buy from you because of a quick pitch. They buy from you because of the problem that you solve and the outcome that you give, and because of you as a whole person, you know, not just from a one-liner. So this is really important, that whilst we can give it punch, whilst we can try and pretty it up, we never want to be doing it at the expense of making it not understandable. It has to be understandable. So that's the first thing. Make sure it's not vague, make sure people get. And so this means that once you think you've figured it out, go and tell a few people close to you, people who don't know you, just try it out and just say, do you understand what I do? Okay? And it's best that you make sure that that not even your ideal clients understand. That's also important as well, because remember, particularly you're going to be using this the most when you're networking and talking to people. So they may not be in your field, in your industry, they may not be the right person, but they may know somebody who is. So let's make it so that, for instance, I know people say a 5-year-old could understand. I love my 5-year-old, but she understands very little about the grown-up world. In fact, I'll just tell you a little story. The other day, she said, "Mummy, I don't want to clear up my room anymore," because I give her pocket money for clearing up her room. And she's like, "I want to make money like you do." And I'm like, "Really? Okay, so and how do you do that?" She's like, "I just sit in your chair." Bless her. So I think she thinks that you know, I sit in my chair and pray for money. Some entrepreneurs do that, but that's not me. I'm not quite sure they make any money out of it either. But hey, there we go. Back on to what I was talking about. So we want to make it so a 10-year-old can understand what it is that you're trying to get across, okay? That if they can understand it, then you're on to a winner, okay? So go and find some 10-year-olds, see if you can try it out on them, okay? So understandable is the first thing. So when we're giving our quick pitch, we want to be making sure that yes, it is impactful, yes, that it's punchy. Okay, so whilst we're keeping it understandable, we also want to give it some welly as much as we possibly can. But the first thing we need to do before we add any of that welly, punch or power to it, we need to make sure that we understand these three things. Okay, who is it that you help? If you were to give them a label that would allow them to self-identify, what would it be? Okay, so for your own clarity and for everyone else's, who is it that you help? Firstly. Second of all, what problem do you solve for those people? Okay, so you've helped them self-identify, you can label them. If you yelled it out into the room and said, hey, is there any in here? They would be able to put their hands up, right? Second, what's their problem? Their known issue, okay? So what's their actual problem that you solve? Thirdly, what is it you help them achieve? If you can nail down those three things, you have the huge basis to your quick pitch, okay? And that's when you can fiddle around with it. That's where you can add punch, but not to the expense of it being understandable. And you also want to make sure that you are comfortable talking like it, right? Because it's your quick pitch, so you're going to be saying it in, in networking situations. You might be writing it down, maybe in a LinkedIn message back to somebody, this is what I do in a sentence. And a lot of people have this challenge of, they call it like nail it in 8. Now that, if you can nail it in 8, fabulous. Don't kill yourself over it, but equally that's kind of the goal that you should be heading towards. You don't want to make it any longer than that, because that's when you start developing your pitch, okay? That's when your longer pitch comes into it. So this is where you want to make sure that you nailed it in 8 as much as you possibly can, as close to that number as possible. And then after that, that's when you will, be delving into that sentence a little bit more to help people understand and really get to grips with what it is that you do. But we're not talking about that today. We're purely talking about the quick pitch. But so anyway, the quick pitch needs to be as close to 8 words as you can possibly make it. So write down those 3 things. What label are you giving the people of who you help? What problem do you solve? What outcome do you give? And now just put it together. I help, A, these people, to solve X problem to achieve this result, or switch your problem and outcome around. It's totally up to you. But you've got your basis of your quick pitch there, and then you can add words in. And sorry, going back to what I was saying, you do have to feel comfortable in how you're saying it. So if you use the word empower, make sure that word is in alignment with you and your brand. Would you say that? Is that your language? Are you using powerful language, but actually you would never use that in everyday conversation? Would you ever use that in a live that you did? Would you ever really truly in a normal conversation use that word? Some people would, and that's totally cool, that's fine. All I'm saying is make sure that the words you choose are in line with your style and your brand and what you want to put out there. So you can add punch, but make sure you're adding punch with the right style of wording. So there we go. Those are my biggest tips. And you don't need to make it any more complicated than that. Okay? You can even shorten it right down. If you know that you're going to be talking to someone for a little while, and that you have opportunity to talk further, you can really shorten it down as much as you want. One of my favorite sales coaches, Jessica Lorimer, she goes ahead and says that, I help people make tons of money. Okay, that immediately goes like, wow, okay, cool, you help people make tons of money, and it opens the conversation. I personally don't think it's great in just like on its own. It does need development, but if you're going to be talking to someone and just explaining, like, oh, hey, so it opens a conversation. So who is it you help? And you can have that conversation. But as a cover all basis, follow that 3 rule. Who do you help? What problem do you solve? What do you help them achieve? Bob's your uncle. You've got your quick pitch. Don't overcomplicate it. Add a bit of punch. Don't add too much. It's like salt. Add too much and you just lose it. Add enough and you just give it that right amount of welly. And also it's in how you say it. It's also the confidence that you have when you say what you want to say. If you're holding back from promising the result, if you're holding back from talking about the problem, or if you write it down, you're like, oh my god, that just sounds so broad and vague. So if you're saying things like, you know, I help people with confidence, you know, this is where you really start to have an honest look at things and go, okay, have I got clarity on what it is I actually offer here? Are people going to be able to self-identify and say, hey, he is the one for me, I need to work with that person? If you know that when you say it, nobody is going to be able to fully identify themselves as someone who would want to continue listening to you, then you know that you're too vague. Remember, you're talking to one person. Talk to that one person and you will find that you will get far more response than if you try and talk to everybody.